It's been because where does JavaScript live? Huh? We talked about this before. Where's JavaScript? What understands JavaScript? The browser, right? So I have a couple options to run JavaScript code. You could use a online editor, like what we see here, JSBin, or you could use your browser. Okay, you could inspect. You see console right here. Okay, and I could run any JavaScript code that I want. Okay, so it tells me that, right? So it's not as nice, right? It's not as nice running JavaScript like this. It's very annoying when it has to go multiple lines. For example, like function. It's like when I try to press enter to go to the next line, it kind of understands that I'm actually submitting this code to be interpreted, right? So it's very hard to write JavaScript code like this. But you could definitely just copy and paste any JavaScript code and run it here. Okay, but I'll use something called JSBin. Okay, and then console. Okay, and JavaScript, I believe, on top of my head, it's been around for over a decade, and it was created by someone called Brendan Eich. Brendan Eich. Okay, Brendan Eich, and let me see. Creator of JavaScript. Yes, I'm not wrong. I'm not just lying to you guys. This guy created JavaScript, and the reason why it's called JavaScript, okay, is because Java, another programming language, used to be so popular back in the day that they tried to hop on that train, you know, but they just added a script at the end. Okay, so please don't think that Java and JavaScript are the same thing. They're very, very, very different things. Almost polar opposites of how these languages work. Okay, if you know any Java, you know how strict it is, and it's compiled, right? And it's really nice. Well, JavaScript gives programmers more flexibility. We don't have to worry about types. We don't have to worry about a lot of things. Okay, that's why some people say JavaScript is weird. Okay, so don't think they're exactly the same. Okay, and if you say Java instead of JavaScript, I'll correct you. Just don't feel bad. Okay. The most basic thing about programming is called variable assignment. Okay, variable assignment is when we say, hey, I'm gonna store something in memory in my computer, in my program. Okay, and I want to give it a name so that I could always retrieve the information that I've stored whenever I'm programming. Okay, whenever this file is run. Okay, and how you do that is by saying the keyword var, and then the name of this variable, of this thing that you want to name it, okay, which will be, let's call it my name. Okay, that's the name that's going to have, equals to, now the right hand side is the value that the variable is going to have, okay, which will be Eduardo. Okay, now in any line of my program, I could access that variable, my name, because it's stored in memory, right? And when my file is run, it knows where it is. Okay, so I could, for example, in the next line, I could console log my name. Okay, and then if I run, it will print my name, which is the value Eduardo. Okay, notice that it didn't print the name of the variable, it printed the value of the variable. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, and we do that all the time, and we take it for granted, right? In our for loops, the very first thing that we do is say var I equals to oftentimes 0, right? So we're creating a variable called I so that we could keep using it, keep incrementing, right, until it hits a certain point. Okay. Now, along with variables, there are also the types of things that we could store in a variable, or AKA, what are the things that could be in the right-hand side? Okay, and we've worked with those already, some of them. Okay, not all of them. So, tell me some types that we have.
Strings.
Strings, okay.
Integers.
Integers, and I'll put a exclamation point here. Not exclamation, a star, because in JavaScript is a little different.
Boolean.
Boolean, good. Good, good. Boolean. No. Okay, no. Okay.
Else.
Not if else statements.
Functions.
Functions, yes, but I won't include them in here.
Arrays.
Arrays. Okay. I want one more at least. Okay, objects. Okay, it's okay. Well, those are objects we won't touch till next week. Okay? Alright, strings. Tell me what a string is.
Anything that's in between quotes.
Anything between quotes, yes, okay, it's between quotes, but its definition is a sequence of characters, okay? In many languages, there's also a type called char, okay, or character, okay? JavaScript doesn't have that, but they have strings, which is a definition of strings in programming is a sequence of characters in a certain order, right? First is E, then D, then U, then N, A, or R, D, O, right? So, and like Rodolfo said, right? Rodolfo, right? Yeah. It's in between quotes. Okay? Single or double quotes? Which one is the preference?
Double.
It doesn't matter. Trick question. Okay, it doesn't matter. It only matters when you're trying to do string concatenation, okay? Which is putting two strings together. But for our cases, it won't really matter, okay? The only thing that I ask is that you're consistent with it, okay? If you use double quotes once, use double quotes everywhere. If you use single quotes once, use single quotes everywhere, okay? So those are strings, okay? So I'm going to rename this variable to say string, my string, okay? And then I'm going to put it right below here, okay? What is this green guy? What is this called when it's green like that and with the 2, 4 sign? Comment, right? And that's the code doesn't matter, right? They skip. It's kind of they skip that line. It's for us to see. All right, integers. Yes,
Where do we have to use camel casing?
that's just the standard. Okay. In other languages, it's the underscore. So you might have seen people say my string like this. Okay. Var my string is like that. Okay. But in JavaScript, it's camel case. Okay. In Python, it's underscore case. I think it's called snake case. Very important, by the way, to follow the standards of the language that you're using. Okay. All right. Integers. Okay. This is very. There's a little star in there because let's see if I could show you guys. My int equals to 5, and let's console log my int, and let's see what happens. Okay, so it doesn't look like it's printing. Let me see if I could do it in the console, and I'll explain to you. Okay, it's okay. Oops. Oh no, don't erase it. Okay, but numbers or integers in JavaScript, by default, they're considered floats. Okay, so if I do something like this, if 5 equals to 5.0, okay, console.log hello, okay, and I'm gonna run, I could still see hello, okay. This, in other languages, you're accessing two different types of things, okay. This is like apple and oranges when you do something like this. In JavaScript, it's okay. Okay? So just know that all integers, they're turned down to floats. Okay? At the end of the day. Okay? When you do some comparison like that.
And that's what a float is, but I feel like it's a whole other thing.
Flow is just a decimal point number. So like point something, right? That's what a float is. In other languages, if you're familiar, they're often called doubles. Okay, so integers and doubles are completely different in other languages. They couldn't be more different, right? But here in JavaScript, we only have one type, and they become floats at the end of the day. Okay. All right. Cool. So
Should we call this numbers instead of integers?
yeah, they're numbers. Yes. I like that better. And that's actually what you what you ask, like say if is number 5, right? Console log is a number. So this is a method that JavaScript gives you that you could say is whatever inside of here as the argument, is that a number? If it is, return true. If it's not, return false, right? Run is number. Maybe I have the method wrong. Oh, it's not a number. Okay. We could do this. Where's type of? Type of, right here. We can say type of, and then what is the type of that? Is it number? Right? Then it'll give me is a number, right? But if I put something like hello, right? This, what type of is this? String, right? So it won't give me, okay? I'm pressing run, but nothing's printing. Okay? So good catch there, Camille. All right? So var my number, I'll just put an example here, 10. Okay? Make sense? All right. Boolean. So what are booleans? What are boolean? Yeah, boolean. Okay? Equals to true. Okay? Or it also could be equal false. Okay? There's only ones and zeros. You guys heard that. Programming is all about ones and zeros. Yeah, in essence. Right? It all gets turned into ones and zeros so the computer can understand. Right? But this is kind of like where we start when we're programming, right? So it has to be true or false. Cool? Okay. I know this is maybe boring for some of you, but it's going to get more complicated, okay? No. No is a special type where it means nothing. Nothing is there, okay? It's different than being undefined, okay? So var hello, console log hello, okay? So I said variable hello, and I'm trying to print its value, okay? Is there a value to hello right now? No. Have we defined the value? Think of it like that. No. So it's undefined, right? So run, you can see that it's undefined, right? But by assigning no, that means that hello holds nothing, okay? It doesn't hold any type. It holds nothing. Big difference. Okay? People confuse that. Just like some people confuse return and console log, this is a very common confusion. Okay? So, I'll just put that in here. Okay? It means nothing. Okay? Arrays. What are arrays? Someone define me what an array is. It's a list, okay. I want more than that. Numbers in a bracket, not just numbers. In JavaScript at least.
Is it just more than one value?
No.
It's an index of,
Ooh, I like that word, index. Keep going.
it's an index of values.
Index of values. Yes. Sorta. Almost there. 75%. It's an order sequence of values, and that order is symbolized by indexes. Very important. Okay? It's ordered. Okay? There's an order to it. There's the first one, there's the second one, there's the third one, there's the fourth one, there's the fifth one, there's the sixth one, there's the seventh one, and so on and so forth. Okay? That's something really, really important about arrays. Okay? Because it makes searching through an array, like how we do to find the max, very, very possible, right? If things were not in order, right, how would we know that we really found that number, right? Or something like that, right? An analogy, I don't like analogies, but an analogy that I use for arrays is a drawer, okay? And then for each, what's that called? For each? Drawer. It's called a drawer. So the thing is called a drawer, and each one's called a drawer.
Yes.
It's a cabinet.
Damn, English is hard.
Cabinet.
Okay, let's do that. So I want to differentiate them. Okay, so we have a cabinet. Okay, let's Google images cabinet. Okay, that's a dresser. Thank you. All right, cool. Okay, so this is dresser equals array. Okay, this is what an array is. It's in order, right? The first one what's its index? 0. Second one is 1. Third one is 2, and the second one is 1. Third one is 2. Fourth one is 3. I actually never researched why it's called that. Why they do it like that? Maybe I'll do that after this, right? So for you to be able to see the information of the first drawer, you have to open it, right? And that's what the square brackets are symbolizing, the opening of the drawer, right? So let's create some drawers. Okay, so var my drawer equal my dresser equals to an array, and then Ankit said array of numbers. Well, it can have an array of numbers, okay, but it doesn't have to be that. It could be an array of strings. It could be an array of arrays. It could be an array of booleans, and you could even mix and match those things. Okay, that's something that not all languages allow you to do unless you do something very specific. Okay, it's always the same type usually, right? Because what it is, all other languages they're trying to do is think about memory management, right? How much memory my program is going to use, right? For those arrays to be allowed to use a lot of things, and they don't even care what type, then they had to do a lot of things behind the scenes for us to be able to do that. It doesn't just work like this, right? That's why JavaScript is so good for beginners and for web development, because it gives you a lot of flexibility. Okay, you don't have to worry about a lot of things that other languages make you know and manage about this stuff. Okay, so let's create numbers now. Let's give me, what's your favorite number? 48. 13. Okay, and then I'll say shit, and then Royce just walked in. Now I'm gonna say true, and then I'm just gonna have even another array of my name. Okay, as a second value and this third value. Okay, so keep pressing Command S to save. So how many drawers does this dresser have? 2? This whole thing? Right? So let's count. 1, 48 is 1, 13 is 2, Shin is 3, Royce is 4, True is 5, this whole thing is 6. Okay? So if I want to see the contents of the first drawer, I have to say, hey, print me. Right? The square bracket symbolizes the opening of the drawer, right? And then we can finally see what's inside. Okay? And we see 48. Okay? And then we could see the first one, 2. Right? Alright? It's 13. And then the second one. Okay? And then the fourth, and then the third one. And then the fourth one. Or that would be 5th, right? Yeah. And then the 6th one. Okay? Oh, no, 5, sorry. Okay? Which is the 6th element. Right? Now, what if I just want Eduardo? What do I have to do? 6 and 0, right? 5 and 0, okay? I open this drawer number 5, and inside that drawer, there's another dresser with 2 drawers. So I have to say, see, this is why I hate analogies. It gets into this crazy thing. right? So I had to open the first element of the second dresser, right? So I had to say, open that for me, okay? Or open that for me, okay? All right. Now in JavaScript, notice when I did 6, okay? What did we get? Undefined. This is really nice, okay? It's really nice that JavaScript does that. That's why I'm telling you guys it's very flexible, because in other languages, this will have your program crash. It's an error. It's called index out of bounds error. Right? You try to reach something that I have not allocated memory to. Okay? So, but in JavaScript, undefined. There's no number there, or no anything there, which is really nice. Our app doesn't crash. Okay? All right. Is everything okay with arrays? I'll skip objects for now. Okay? But objects, I'll just show you what they are so that you guys don't, when you guys first see it, you guys are not confused. My obj, okay? All they are key value pairs, okay? So it's gonna have one value of first name, its value, it's Eduardo, and then last name, okay? Its value is Bake. Okay, key value pairs. Okay, see, it's the colon, right? This is a key value pair. This is a key value pair. Okay, all right. And then to get the value of Eduardo, I have to say my obj first name. Okay, and then to get the value of Eduardo. All right. One big difference between arrays and objects is that arrays are indexed. So in a sequence, objects order does not matter. Okay, this thing could be in a different. If you put them in a certain order, they're not guaranteed to come out in the same order.
So it's kind of like putting variables inside a variable.
It's a data type that allows you to assign a variable to a value, a key to a value. So let's see if this will work right now. So my first key will be B, and my second key will be A. I'm going to console log my obj, and I'm going to run. And you can see that the order came out A and B, okay? Which is not the order that I put them in. So it's very different from arrays where everything is like, okay, added to the last, added to the last. And then there's this nice sequence that we can always traverse to, right? It's always from 0 to n, right? Where n is the number of elements that I have, okay? Here, with objects, we don't know how they're going to come out. So big difference. We don't have to worry about that right now. Okay, just want to show you guys. All right, so these are the basic data types that you'll be using in JavaScript. Okay, any questions about this? No? All right, let's talk about if and else statements now. Okay, what are if and else if statements even? What are those? What are those called in programming? Conditions, yes. Condition is actually what's inside the if and else. Does anyone know the programming definition or programming word?
It's not conditional branch, is it?
No. It's called control flow. Okay? We're controlling the flow of information, of how things are going through our program. Okay? If you search control flow in Ruby, you're gonna see how they do it if and else statements in Ruby. If you search control flow in JavaScript, that's what we're gonna see, right? So, for example, control flow in Python, which is your next stack, okay? Okay, that's exactly what it is. Okay, that's what control flow is. Okay, it's good to have a name to these things, right? Even though like they might be a little unfamiliar, it's nice to know them because you never know someone's gonna ask you, hey, I never done JavaScript. How do you do control flow? And then you told them that you're a JavaScript developer. You're like, what is control flow? Right? We don't want that, right? So we want us to know our stuff. Okay. So let's do some control flow. Okay. So this is the most basic way. If some condition, okay, and then else if some other condition, Okay, I'm gonna just not do this comments because they're messing me up. Okay, and then else some other condition. Okay, so if, like I said, this is called condition. A condition is a statement that has to evaluate a Boolean, okay, which is true or false. Okay, and there's a caveat in there where there's things called truthy and falsy, and I'll cover that right now after I talk about how this works. Okay, so true or false, right? So we have to say, is this something true or is it something false? If it's true, then execute, right? Otherwise, go to the next branch, right? So on and so forth, right? So what's one that we could say? Hey, is 5 equal to 5, right? Is that true? Then console log, hey, 5 is equal to 5, right? Else if is 5 equal to 6, right? Console log, hey, 5 is equal to 6, right? Else, right? What would be some, in English, what will we put here in the else to explain what will happen in this tree of directions?
Five is not equal to 6. It's not equal to 5 or 6.
Yes, 5 is not equal to 5 or 6, right? So now I'm going to substitute 5. I'm going to substitute this 5 with a variable, okay? And I'm going to call var my num equals to 5, okay? And now instead of putting 5 on the left, I'm going to say my num. And then in here, I'm going to say my num as well, okay? And then here, I'm going to say my num is equal to 5, and my num is equal to 6. And my num is not equal to 5 or 6. See what I did there? Okay, I just substituted what I'm comparing, right? So I'm going to run this, okay? And where should it go? What am I going to see in the console?
My num is equal to 5.
Yeah, because it is equal to 5, right? Let's run this. Okay? Hey, my number is equal to 5. Let's change this to 10. What am I going to see? Yes. Okay? And if I change this to 6, it's going to run the middle one. Right? So this is control flow, right? I'm controlling what's going to happen depending on these conditions. Okay? So it goes like this. Right? If this is true, execute this and then continue. If this is not true, check the middle one, and if that's true, execute this and continue. Okay? If this is not true and this is not true, execute this no matter what. Okay? And sometimes you don't want to execute something no matter what. Sometimes you just want to keep checking conditions. Okay? And that's when you just do else if and else if and else if. You don't have an else at the end. Because else will trigger if everything above it, right, is not true. Any of them. Does that make sense?
In Ruby, would that be called a conditional branch or? is it
Control
still-
flow?
Yeah, is it
In
still
any
called-
programming language,
It's
it's
still
called
called
control flow. Okay? In any programming language. Alright, so this is obviously, it's kind of obvious that it's going to be true, right? Or false, right? But in programming, there's this weird concept of truthy and falsy, where values, or certain values, evaluate to true when you put that in a condition, or false. Okay? So let me see if I can find a list for you guys. Truthy and falsy values in JavaScript. Okay? Alright, and this might confuse you a little bit, okay? But this is all the truthy values in JavaScript, okay? So, and then let's do falsy values in JavaScript. Falsy values in JavaScript. And they should have a falsy right here, glossary, okay? Very weird, okay? In other languages, again, you can't do this. You can either put only true or false, okay? But what this is that if I put those types in, okay, that triggers that control flow, that branch, that if statement, as if it were true, okay? So, for example, if I put a number like -42, that's true for some reason, okay? And that's just how the language works, okay? So,
Line number 42.
if I say if -42, okay, if I run this, it will say, hey, my number is equal to 5, okay? And I'm going to change the statements to be, this is in the if, this is in the else if, and this is in the else, okay? Okay, if I put a square bracket on an empty array, that's true, okay? If I put a 0, okay, that's actually false. So it goes to the next one, which is my num equal to 6? Yes, it is, right? So that's why I trigger the second one. Okay? So if you see a falsie, then these are the falsies. Okay?
Something just about programming JavaScript, just put in just
To mess with us? No. I don't know. I don't know why they have this range of truthy and falsy values. I'd much rather just be true or false. But this is just something that you have to know, because this could cause a lot of problems, right? Let's say you're getting all the prices that you spend in your bank account, right? And there's a transaction that is 0, and you have all these if statements that depend on all these numbers, and then one of them is 0, and then your app crashes because it was falsy, right? That's a really weird example, but just you have to think about it. That's why you always do some equivalent. You never really just do if something. You always compare that something to something else so that we can match, right? The equal sign or the pipes, right? You guys, so control flow JavaScript, okay? JavaScript, right? Wow, that's. Let's see if they have. What else? I'm trying to see. Where can I find? Like you always compare it, right, with the either less than, greater than, or equal sign. You can also do the ampersand, right, to combine things. The or, okay. So, kind of on a tangent there. All right, so just know those. All right. What else do I want to cover about control flow? Okay, one weird thing about JavaScript as well. Okay, if I do this, equals 5, print console log. Hey, they are equal for some reason. Okay, if I run this, what do you think is going to happen? Nothing? Okay. Wow, they're equal for some reason. So this is what's called implicit casting. Okay, and casting is the concept of turning a data type into another data type. Okay, so what happens here is that you look at the first number, and if it's able to turn this guy into whatever the left-hand side is, then it will do that for you implicitly. Again, not too cool. Okay, you have to be really careful when you do things like that. All right, so this is called implicit casting. All right, a way to avoid that is by using the triple equal sign. Okay, which would say, hey, they need to be the same value and the same type. Okay, in other languages, right, triple equal sign signifies checking by reference, but in JavaScript, it only cares if they're the same value and the same type. Okay? So what's the value of the left-hand side? 5. What is this type? Number. Right? The right-hand side, the type is string, and the value is 5. Right? But since they're different types, right? I'm pressing run, nothing happens. Okay? But here, if they have the same type, right, then it will run. Okay? All right, very important. Implicit conversion or casting, or convert. Some people call it conversion. All right. Now, the last thing that I want to talk to you guys about. These are the foundations of all these algorithms that we're doing, right? If this foundation is rocky, then the algorithms that we do is really hard. That's why I wanted to do this. Okay. But last thing that I want to do is talk about functions. Okay, functions. So a function, okay, function is a piece of code that you attach a name to so that you could keep using it anytime you want, right?
It's on the next time, right? Just stop.
Say it again?
It's on the next time. What I'm talking about, right?
Functions are actually a type in JavaScript, but we don't have to worry about that. Okay, we're just gonna worry about writing functions correctly. Okay, so here I'm gonna write a function, and how you write a function or define a function, right? I call the function definition. You use the word function. Okay, pretty easy to remember. Okay, space, and then whatever you're gonna call, right? It's just like how we did var, the name of the variable, function, the name of our function. Okay, and let's say my function will be say hi to Michael. Okay, and then you need to use parentheses, okay, to close the name of the function, then curly braces. Okay, and all this function is going to do is console log hello Michael. Okay, or hi. My function will say hi to Michael. You're great. Okay, or I should do the opposite, like this. Okay, you're great. Okay, all right. If I run this, what will happen? Nothing. Nothing prints. Why? Yeah, right. The whole point of writing functions is so we could use them. I wrote it, but I haven't used it. Okay, and how we use it is by looking at the name. Okay, by using it, you could just copy this side of it. Okay, and just paste it. Okay, I'm using it once, so it's only gonna print once. I want to use it 10 times. Oops. Okay, not 10 times. Let's use it 5 times. Okay. It will add the semicolon. Okay, and now it prints it 5 times. Okay.
By the way, can you call it like 100 times quicker?
A for loop.
To call it function.
Camille. Okay. All right. So computers are good to do. Are really good at doing things a lot, the same thing a lot of times, right? All right. Cool. So this is a function. Okay, and this is how we call a function. Okay. This is the function definition. This is the function invocation. Okay. And we're invoking it. We're using it. All right. Now a function is not just bound to just whatever is inside of that function. That was a really bad start. What I'm trying to say, a function also could use things that the user that's invoking the function gives to, right? It's called arguments. Okay, Michael was talking about that yesterday in the afternoon session, right? It's saying is a way for us as the user of that function to say, hey, use these pieces, and do whatever you're gonna do, right? So instead of saying say hi to Michael, I want a function that will say hi, okay, to someone, and that someone will be a person, okay, and instead of hi Michael, I'm gonna say hi plus a person plus, okay, this. Okay? Now if I call this, let's see what happens. Okay? Say hi to someone, sorry. Okay? What do we get? Well, it's right here. It says, hi, undefined, you're great. When did we see undefined before? In this lesson that I just did. In the array, before that though.
Empty variable.
In a undefined variable, right? So very good. This is like what happens here when you add an argument. You have something called a person, right? And you just have not defined it when you do something like this. Okay? But when I pass a name to it, right, then var a person becomes whatever the value that you have passed in. Okay? Okay? But the whole reason that you could do arguments is that so we don't have to do this work. It's done for us behind the scenes. Okay? So now if I run clear and run, we're saying hi to string. Okay? So these are arguments. These are local variables to this function. Okay? Right? So now I don't have to say hi to just Shin. I could say hi to Michael. Okay? I could say hi to Nicole. Right? I could say hi to Royce. Right? This allows me for my function to work in a more dynamic manner. Okay? It's not always just say hi to Michael, you're great. Say hi to Michael, you're great. Right? All you guys are great. Right? So I want to be able to put all different names in there. Right? And you're not bound to just one. You could put another thing. Right? Person, and then I'll say description. Okay? And then Chin, instead I'm going to say you're great. Michael, lame. Okay? Nicole, awesome. Royce, sleepy. Okay? Alright? And now instead of saying you're great, I'm going to say plus description. Okay? Plus, and then this. Okay? Clear, run, and now all these are different because I call the function differently. Okay? Alright. So this is what I wanted to go over with all of you. I hope we give you guys more insight of how perfect. Okay? So let's talk about returning console log. Right now our function only console logs, right? So I'm gonna do this. Var whatever the function returns equals to say hi to someone, okay, and let's pass in Michael as the name, okay, and then let's pass in great again, okay, clear, run, okay. Let's think about what's happening here, okay. We have the function definition, and we say that variable equals to whatever this returns. Okay? Well, we're calling the function here, right? So it's still going to execute whatever we say here, which it prints it. Right? So this is actually the behavior that we're expecting. But let's see what's inside of this variable that we just created. Okay? Well, it's undefined, right? And I mentioned this yesterday. Quickly, very quickly, okay? But because this function doesn't return anything, okay? So all functions return something. If you don't say explicitly that you're returning something, it's like at the end, at the very end, no matter how many code you have, it's always going to add this extra line and say return undefined, okay? Okay, and that's what we see now. Now, if you want to return something else, let's say, hey, hi, okay, very basic right now. So I keep pressing Command S. Okay. Now, notice I'm not console-logging what's inside that function yet. Okay. I'm gonna run. Well, that looks fine. But now I'm gonna write console log and see what's inside of there. Well, you can see that it's a value that returns. Okay. Now let's not console log here. Let's just console log what this function returns. So instead of doing this, I'm gonna say return this big string. Okay. Now if I run, okay, well, we don't see anything, right? Because when is the only time we see something in the console? When we print it or when we log it, right? But since we're returning the string, that information is saved in this variable because that's what this returns, right? So if I console log that now, let me see. Hi, Michael, you're great. So return and console log, very, very different things. And I know it gets confusing, but whenever you want to get something back from the function, you have to return it. If you want to just print what it is, then just print it.
So return doesn't actually like display anything.
No, it does not. Okay. I was talking to Camille about this. If I have this eraser, right? I'm this variable. Okay. You are the function. Okay. If you return, you're giving me that back. Okay. Now I have it. Now if you just console log, then you're just showing me what it is. I don't have that back. Again, I hate analogies. All right. Now we're done. Good question.